Hey, and welcome back to 30 something female. I'm Claire. This is my channel. I wrote a blog post last week. I posted it. I wrote it a little while ago actually, but I posted it last week on my website, and it's doing really well on Facebook. People are sharing it and liking it. Of course, I'm still just starting out, so only a couple people have shared it, but that's more than normal. So it had traction, and it was all about a sort of feminist perspective to online dating, and how we, as women, we often, especially in our 30s, we tend to let men get away with stuff. The guys that we're dating, we don't fully realize that we're being treated badly. I certainly didn't. And I can only speak for myself, although I have talked to lots of women who have experienced the same kind of thing, where they look back on a relationship and they can't figure out why they let things happen the way they did. So I wanted to tell you a little story today about something that happened to me, which is exactly this scenario. I let this guy go so far in how he was treating me that I don't know. I feel, looking back at that person, considering my relationship now and how happy I am and how I'm respected, and I can't believe that I just didn't see it. It was just all fine at the time, or just, he's maybe a little bit socially awkward, but he was a bad person. So I was living here. Actually, this is the guy I dated right before I met Damien. So this was my headspace right before I did a bunch of work on myself and changed my behavior, which I talk about on my site as well, exactly what I did. This guy's name was, let's say it was Arthur. It was a different A name, but whatever. He was a student at the university in the town I live in. He was very clever. I enjoyed talking to him he was very passionate about his program. He's a PhD student, and it's something in science that I knew nothing about, which appealed to him. So we would have discussions, and then he would be the clever guy that knew things, and I'd be like, oh, okay, and I'd have nothing to offer, and so he'd get to monologue for a bit. Anyway, he also would, I don't know if he was negging me, but he was he was just like how do I explain this? I don't know if he was negging me, but he would criticize my jokes. So, because, that's nice. So I'd make an accent or say something funny, and usually my British accents, because I'm not a racist. So, but he would just say, that was a really terrible accent. That was really bad. And at the time I was like, okay, yeah, it probably was. Guess I won't do that again. So I was already starting to trim and tuck my personality when I was around him. He was really handsome, and he just seemed to have a future, and I don't know, I just thought that there was something there. He seemed to really like me. Another time, this wasn't negging a joke, but I used to deal with my stress by having a cigarette, and I wouldn't I don't think I was really a smoker, but maybe once a day I'd have a smoke, or that would be a stressful time. But I would buy a pack of smokes and have one or two, and then give it to a friend who did smoke. And so I told him I did this. I was like, oh, I was so stressed out today, I bought a pack of smokes. And he said to me, you disgusting whore. That was his reaction to me buying a pack of smokes. I think it was a joke. I don't know. It might have been a joke. But I was like, that's a little bit extreme. And I said to him at the time, I'm like, I'm not really cool with you calling me that. You just don't like smoking, that's fine. But what gives? He's like, oh, haha, you're so sensitive. Anyway, lots of red flags that I ignored. And Anyway, it turns out this is where things got really bad. And I mean, this was all in the space of like 2 weeks, right? So I don't know. I thought it was going somewhere. He came over on a Friday one week, and this was I think the first time he was spending the night. So it was a big deal, and he brought condoms, which is great. This is getting a little bit TMI, so if you're not interested, you should stop watching. So we used a couple, as people do. And then I wasn't aware that he was leaving town that night. He was going to actually Ottawa, our capital city, which is not too far away, like 2 hours away. He was like, "Oh, I'm heading out now." It's like, "Oh, that's disappointing considering it was our first time." But whatever, I just was going to let it go. And then he said, he picked up the box of condoms that were mostly full and said, "You don't mind if I take these with me, do you?" Actually happened. Actual story about dating. And I looked at him and I was like, "No, I don't mind at all. Take the box of condoms and don't call me again." And he looked at me like, "What? I thought you knew that we're still just in the seeing each other phase." I'm like, I didn't know that. I don't want that. I don't want to be one of a few girls you're sleeping with. There was a time when I experimented with that and how it felt, which I will get into at a later video. But no, that's not what I want, not what I'm looking for. And I was so sad. And I wasn't really angry until the next day. I was just so sad for myself that I had let myself get to that point with him, that I didn't realize that he was an asshole. I let it happen. I let that happen to myself. And telling my friends about it, one of my friends said to me, and maybe I've mentioned this in another video, that he said, "Claire, you're not self-destructive, but you do abuse yourself using other men. Like you use other people. You don't do things that are necessarily directly detrimental to yourself, like drugs or crazy unhealthy lifestyle. But you do allow those people into your life, those people that are not healthy and not kind." And anyway, that was the last time I think that was the last time I met someone online. That was the last time I subjected myself to that world. I just took a break from dating. I did some things for myself that were really good that I go into in great detail in my free ebook, actually. And probably over the course of time, I'll explain it all on my site as well. But I had to do some work on myself after that. And I had to really analyze my choices and my ability to read people and just where I found partners or potential partners, how that all played out. And so then after a few months, I met my current boyfriend and the father of my bump. He was my butcher. I went paleo. That's something else I talk about a bit later on. I was on this special diet that, if you don't know, it's like pretty meat heavy. It's like just meat and vegetables and fruit, basically. So I'd go there every day, and I just had a crush on this butcher. I had no idea his age, which was very young. And so, I don't know, we just flirted, and then we went for a drink, and then we started dating, and yeah, a year and a half later, I've got his daughter in my belly. So, Oh, I wanted to update you, if you're interested, about the baby. Last time I made a video, it was all about what you can go through in pregnancy and how you don't really want to do all that on your own. At least I would advise against it, unless you have a super, super, super good, strong, unusually strong support network, which I also do, but you'd have to have one even stronger than mine. But anyway, the ultrasound that told me I had placenta previa, which meant all this stuff, like I couldn't give birth, I had to have a C-section, and it was dangerous, and blah, 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 was a total lie. Not me lying to you. It was a bad ultrasound image. So all the doctors, the midwife, the technicians, everyone read that first ultrasound for what it said, which was that I had this issue, and then which was that my placenta was very close to the bottom, very close to the cervix, and it should be way further up top by that point in the pregnancy. But it was just a bad image. I have no problems at all. I was on bed rest for pelvic rest for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And then they asked me to go back in because they did not get, on the same bad ultrasound, they didn't get a picture of the baby's heart or her hands. So they asked me to go back in. I went back in. They were like, well, we may as well take a peek at your placenta as well. And it was miles away from my cervix. It was totally fine. Sorry if that's TMI, talking about my cervix. But I don't have, since I got pregnant, my body is kind of like an open topic of conversation. But the point is, I went through all of that for nothing. The cyst in the baby's brain is nothing to worry about. Like, most babies have them, they go away, they always go away. And I don't have placenta previa at all. I don't need to be on rest of any sort. So I've been working out, and I've been gardening, and everything's great. If you read about pelvic rest, there are other things that I'm doing again that are great for stress reduction, but I'll leave that to you to figure out. So thanks for watching. I hope that gives you a bit of an indication about where I'm coming from when I talk about dating, and when I talk about how men treat women in the dating world, or single men these days are treating single women these days, especially when we're all in our 30s. There was a while when I thought that, like I said to you before, I think that I was looking into adoption. I just thought that if I adopt a kid, at least I can have a family, because there's no, I just thought all of these guys who are single and in their 30s, there's something wrong with them. Or they think there's something wrong with us, or something's not working here, because it just felt like all the good, nice people were taken. And in fact, the guy that I met was 23 at the time, so maybe there's, Damien was 23 at the time, so maybe that it means there's something to it, that there's a higher percentage of guys in their 30s who do not want to settle down. So I don't know what the answer to that is, except to work on yourself, and just so much of it is luck, but you need to be in the place in your life where you're ready to meet someone and stay with someone, or else you could have all the luck in the world and you'll just keep pushing people away. Okay, heavy for a Monday morning. I'm going to do a lighter video next Sunday for you. Thank you for watching. I don't know if anyone is, but thank you. Okay, good luck.